give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha Rakah Quadash, double honors, and to our apostle elders which rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abba babal. Alright, this is Malachi 4 verse 1. For behold, the day cometh, which is the day of the Lord, when he sends Yahweh Shai to judge the world and to save his elect of the nation of Israel, that shall burn as an oven, nuclear destruction of Babylon the Great, the Edomite kingdom, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Yahweh of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. So the kingdom of Edom will be destroyed by fire, and then eventually the Edomite will be made extinct. But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, which we got the Comforter, as we wait for Yahweh Shai's return, and then he's going to gather us into the chariot and change us. And we shall go forth and ye shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall. It tells you that these Edomites, they intend to try to slaughter us. All right, 2 Ezra 15 and 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter, but I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt, talking about America, Babylon the Great. But I will bring them with the mighty hand and the stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Which this didn't happen to ancient Egypt. The plagues did, but all the land was not destroyed. It's going to happen to the spiritual Egypt, America, all right, which look at the back of the dollar, and this is why the Edomites set up symbols of Egyptian all over their capitals, like the obelisk, all right? Because this is spiritual Egypt, America, where we were sent to do hard bondage. It says, and ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith Yahweh of hosts. Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. Why are we being commanded to remember? Because we're the Israelites and we forgot who we were, and it's prophesied that we would remember in the last days. Isaiah 1 verse 26, it says, and I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion, the Israelites, shall be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness. And the destruction of the transgressors and of the sinners shall be together, and they that forsake Yahweh shall be consumed. All right, which they're going to forsake his word, which speaks of his son, and they're going to be consumed. All right, now showing you well, let me get Romans 8 first, and then we'll go there. Romans 8 and 1, there is therefore now no condemnation, meaning to be condemned to death, to them which are in Hamashiach Yahushai, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit of prophecy that is in the scriptures, from the Old Testament, New Testament, and the Apocrypha. For the law of the spirit of life in Hamashiach Yahushai had made me free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Yahweh sending his own Son Yahushai in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. All right? So there's a spirit that is with these words, the Holy Scriptures. All right? And we're going to go to Ecclesiasticus 44:1. Let us now praise famous men, our fathers that begot us, which in this chapter, the Lord speaks of Abraham, Isaac, and that it went to Jacob, which out of Jacob came Moses. All right. It says in Ecclesiasticus 44:22, with Isaac did he establish likewise, and likewise for Abraham his father's sake, the blessing of all men, and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob, which he is the father of the Israelites, not the Edomites. Remember, the Lord hates the Edomites. Romans 9:13. It says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Esau is the forefather of the so-called white race, and Jacob is the forefather of the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, all right, which been scattered throughout the world in slavery under the so-called white race and the other nations. All right, Malachi 1:3, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness, which the Lord is going to turn Esau's kingdom, America, which is spiritual Basra, he's going to destroy it and make it a desert. All right. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. And your eyes shall see, and ye shall say, Yahweh will be magnified from the border of Israel, which this is speaking beyond the border of Israel. Here in America, the uttermost part of the earth. Malachi 1:5 in the NLT, when you see the destruction for yourselves, you will say, truly, Yahweh's greatness reaches far beyond Israel's borders, because we're here in America in the uttermost part of the earth. All right? So going back to the Apocrypha, in Ecclesiasticus 44 chapter 22 verse in the middle, he acknowledged him in his blessing and gave him an heritage and divided his portions among the 12 tribes of Israel did he part them. Now I'm going to go to verse 1 of Ecclesiasticus 45. And he brought out of him, out of Jacob, a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of our power, Yahweh, and men, whose memorial is blessed. He made him like to the glorious saints and magnified him, so that his enemies stood in fear of him, which it tells you that he made him a god before Pharaoh. Exodus 7:1, and Yahweh said unto Moses, see, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet. All right, so it says in verse 3 of Ecclesiasticus 45, by his words he caused the wonders to cease, and he made him glorious in the sight of kings, and gave him a commandment for his people, and showed him part of his glory. He sanctified him in his faithfulness and meekness, and chose him out of all men. He made him to hear his voice, and brought him into the dark cloud, into the chariot, and gave him commandments before his face, even the law of life and knowledge, that he might teach Jacob his covenants and Israel his judgments. See, so in Romans 8, once again, in verse 1, there is therefore no condemnation to them which are in Hamashiach Yahushai, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Hamashiach Yahushai had made me free from the law of sin and death. All right, so we were given the power to sin, which there was a law of sin and death upon us, but through Yahushai we get grace, which we're returning to being Israelites in Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. For what the law could not do, which the law doesn't teach you salvation, in that it was weak through the flesh, because we're in sinful flesh, Yahweh sending his own Son, so the Word became flesh, in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, which we condemn sin in sinful flesh, who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit, which the Spirit rests upon the words of Yahweh, right? So let's go to Baruch 4. Baruch 4, verse 1. It says, "This is the book of the commandments of Yahweh, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated." See? So this is the light that we are in, which is the truth that is in the scriptures, which we have history and we have prophecy at our fingertips. All right? But it all speaks of Yahweh Shai, whether it's history or prophecy. It's all pertaining to Yahweh Shai and the kingdom of Israel. All right? So this is why we should know these things. All right? But with that, I give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha Rekakwadash, double honors unto our apostle elders, which teach us the truth, which taught us the truth, and that rule great millstone well, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abal babal.